through God's grace and mercy once more, we are here to learn the normal Bible discussions that we've been having. Today, the topic of us today is worship in education. But before we go to the main topic of today, let us read what we learned last time. We learned more lessons from the master teacher. One of the lessons that we gotten from this is that sin entered the world, and when sin entered the world through one person, likewise through one person everybody was there to be saved. And because of this, Jesus came in order to save everyone, and no person was able to be left aside. Now it is us which were given the opportunity to choose through the bad or wrong. Jesus came in order to fill the gap which was left there between sin and us. And after bridging that gap, again we became the normal friends to God. Through the love of Him, He really worked very hard for us to be saved. Okay, today we are going to get the worship in education, and the main text of today is coming from the book of 1 Chronicles 16:26, which says in the book of the version of New King James Version, "Give to the Lord the glory due His name, bring an offering and come before Him, or worship the Lord in the beauty of holiness." Worship is part of humanity, part of human nature, even following human nature. No question, we were created as beings who, out of the freedom given us by God, will worship the Lord because we love Him and know that He is worthy of worship. Church worship must have been pretty easy in powerful world when humans had face-to-face access to God in a creation unmarred by sin, death, and destruction. A creation that we who know only a fallen world can barely imagine. Today, of course, although the intimate need to worship still exists in us, it, like everything else in the world, has become twisted in and distorted by sin, which means that among other things, we as worshiping beings can end up worshiping the wrong thing, or even end up not worshiping the Lord in the way that He is supposed to be worshipped. You can check the book of Mark 7:1-13 and read the book of Jeremiah 7:4. You can read that by yourself. And because of this, hence, worship is so central to the Christian experience. Christ education must deal with the question of worship. Because of this, we are going to discuss which ones are some of the ways that we should worship the Lord and the true ways of worshiping the Lord. Every human being, and there's no doubt that every human being has something to worship in his life. That thing that you love the most is what you are worshiping. You can worship money, human being, politician, any other thing that you love the most, you can worship. We got in the ancient, one of the kings raised an image to be worshipped, that he was challenged with the three sons of Israel, which was Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. We denied that one they can't worship without what is happening. And at the end of the road, once again, the faith was restored to them. What we are worshiping is what the generations to come will come to worship. Somebody cannot worship what his father or mother has not taught him to worship. And because of this, it is upon the parents or the elder people to teach those people who are coming up what they are supposed to be worshiping. Israelites were worshiping God, and through what they were worshiping, their children had to know what they were worshiping. David was trained in a manner that he knew that he is supposed to worship God, and through this, he made the church and brought the tabernacle from where it was to the place of Israel. And through this, he really guarded this tabernacle and made it holy once more. When we read the book of John, when we read the book of John 4:7-26, this one is a story that we are getting of a story we are getting of a woman. A story we are getting of a woman which went to Jesus in order. It is Jesus meeting this woman at the point of drawing water. John 4:7-26. We are getting a Samaritan woman meets Jesus, and when the Lord knew that Pharisees had heard that Jesus made and baptized more disciples than John, though Jesus himself did not baptize, but his disciples, he left Judea and departed again to Galilee, but he needed to go through Samaria. So he came to a city of Samaria which is called Sychar, near a plot of ground that Jacob gave his son Joseph. Now Jacob's well was there. Jesus therefore, being wearied from his journey, sat thus by the well. It was about the 6th hour. A woman of Samaria came to draw water. Jesus said to her, "Give me a drink," for his disciple had gone away into the city to buy food. Then the woman of Samaria said to him, "How is it that you, being a Jew, ask a drink from me, a Samaritan woman? From Jew had no dealings with Samaritans." Jesus answered and said to her, "If you knew that gift of God, and who is it who says to you, 'Give me a drink,' you will have asked him, and he will have given you living water." The woman said to him, "Sir, you have nothing to draw with, and the well is deep. Where then do you get the living water? Are you greater than our father Jacob, who gave us the well and drank from it himself, and when as his sons and his livestock?" Jesus answered and said to her, "Whoever drinks of this water thirsts again, but whoever drinks of the water that I shall give him will never thirst. But the water that I shall give will become in him a fountain of water springing up in everlasting life." The woman said to him, "Sir, give me this water that I may not thirst or come here to draw." Jesus said to her, "Go call your husband," and came with her. The woman answered and said, "I have no husband." Jesus said to her, "You have well said, I have no husband, for you have had 5 husbands, and the one that you have now is not even your husband." Jesus is trying to bring this woman into salvation. Through the interrogations, now he is opening up and telling him that truly you said the truth. Even the person you have now is not your husband. Then the woman sensed that the person I'm speaking to is not just a normal human being. The woman sensed that, "I perceive that you are a prophet. Our fathers worship on this mountain, and you Jews say that it is in Jerusalem which people ought to worship." Then Jesus said to her, "Woman, believe me, the hour is coming when you will neither on this mountain nor in Jerusalem worship the Father. You worship what you do not know. We worship what we know. For salvation was for the Jew, but the hour is coming, and now it is, when the true worshippers will worship the Father in spirit and truth. For the Father is seeking such to worship him, and truth, for the Father is seeking that. God is spirit, and those who worship him in spirit worship him must worship in spirit and truth." Then the woman said to him, "I know Messiah is coming, who is called Christ. When he comes, he will tell us all these things." Up to now, this woman did not know that the person he's speaking to is Jesus. Then Jesus tells him now that, "I who speaks to you, I am he." Then the woman is now says, "No, this one is not just a normal person. He is going to call people in order to come and get what he's saying." Brethren, worshipping is not just an ordinary worshipping. The Israelites, or the people in the ancient, clinged too much in the traditions. And we are getting at a point when Jesus was with the disciples, some of the people came to him that Jesus, why are your disciples eating without washing their hands? Jesus is telling them, you people, you cling too much to the traditions. Washing hands is not bad, friends. It is something like cleanliness in us. Cleanliness in us. And these people have fasted. It is in the book of First Chronicles. Let us look in the book of First Chronicles. The book of First Chronicles. First Chronicles 16, 1 to 36. Just to paraphrase. That is where David broke the ark of the tabernacle to the place, to the Israelites. And due to this, it was good enough that David had achieved what he was dreaming about. One of the time, Israelites had been surrounded by the very religious people, so dedicated to worship and practicing the gods of theirs. And because they're worshiping their own gods, they took themselves so righteous to an extent that if you did a wrong thing, you are seriously wrong. And Jesus was now correcting them in one of the ways. They dedicated in the things that they were doing seriously. If you check the book of Mark 7, 1, 13. Mark 7, 1, 13. What is there is, then the Pharisees and some of the scribes came together to him, having come from Jerusalem. Now there is so some of his disciples eat bread with the defiled, that is, with unwashed hands. For the Pharisees and all the Jews do not eat unless they wash their hands, and in a special way, in holding the traditions of the elders. When they came to the marketplace, they do not eat unless they wash their hands. Washing hands is not bad, but clinging too much to the tradition, that is what is wrong. Then the Pharisees and scribes asked Jesus, why do your disciples not walk according to the traditions of the elders, but eat bread with unwashed hands? A good answer is coming from Jesus. Then he answered and said to them, well, did Isaiah prophesy you hypocrites, as it is written, these people honor me with their lips, but their heart is not from me, and in vain they worship me, teaching as doctrines and commandments of men. These people are only following their traditions, doing things in order to please the rest of the people, that they were holy and they were clean. Yet worshiping God fully in spirit and in truth, they were not doing that. They were only practicing their own traditions. And because of this, now Jesus is rebuking them that it is not necessary for you to practice your own traditions here. What is necessary is that what you are doing is the best thing. What enters a man is not defiling the man's body, but what comes out is what defiles him. What you are saying, for instance, that is what will destroy, because it is in the brain, the heart, that is what defiles a man. So when these people saw the disciples of Jesus eating these things, they asked Jesus, why are they not practicing the traditions? But Jesus gave them the right answer, that you people just practice the traditions because you cling to them too much. So if we leave the traditions in us, then actually one day, one time, we must receive the eternal life. Friends, worshiping is not just worshiping, it needs dedication. We worship in truth, in openness, and in every way that we are supposed to worship God. The heart is deceitful above all things and desperately wicked. Professors of religions are not willing to closely examine themselves to see whether they are in the faith, and it is a faithful fact that many are leaning on a false hope. Some lean upon the old experience they had years ago, but when brought down to this heart-searching time, when all should have a daily experience, they have nothing to relate. They seem to think professions of the truth will save them. When those sins with God hates are subdued, Jesus will come in and up with you and with you with him. You will then draw divine strength from Jesus, and you will grow up in him and be able to behold Holy Trump to say, "Blessed be God who giveth us the victory through our Lord Jesus Christ." I will be more